It's been so long since I've welcomed anybody back to a Let's Play video, I've completely forgotten how to do it. Hello guys, this is UniversalGiant, welcome back for more of Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. Last time, we made our way down to the surface, entered the sealed grounds, talked to an old lady who told us that Zelda was heading this way. So we should probably go to wherever that beacon was that we set down earlier. Unfortunately, I have no sense of direction, so I have no idea which way we're supposed to be going. Wonderful start to a video, I know. And once again, they're forcing us to learn the mechanics with the stamina meter and what we need to do in order to move stuff, to advance to places. And you can see that the beacon that we put there on the map in the last video is still actually here, and it will stay here for as long as we leave it here. I really don't have an intention of moving it. And now we enter Farron Woods proper. See what I mean about that happening every single time we enter a new area? I mean, it's kind of nice. It gives you an idea of what the place is like, what the map looks like, where you are relative to everything. I do like it. I should also mention that every time you pass one of these save statues, the bird statues, make sure you at least talk to it. I mentioned that these serve as your gateway back up to the sky. If you do not at least acknowledge this thing's existence by examining it, you will not be able to use it as a point of return to this location. So you want to make sure every bird statue you pass, whether or not you actually want to save, that you at least make contact with it. It doesn't look like much of a bush to me. It's not trying hard enough to be a bush. It's kind of moving around. It's got a speech bubble on it. Oh, they do come in green, but I'm not one of them. Poor little fella. I should also mention that if we were actually using C to douse, our dousing would have led us to that little creature. Unfortunately, as you can probably tell, that Kikwi was indeed not Zelda. And Fi has no idea why we were picking up that Kikwi as opposed to Zelda. Probably because Fi doesn't know what the hell she's doing. But you can see as we walk around, we're going to have these little logs all over the place that'll serve as shortcuts for us later. And of course, with the dashing, we can make our way up those slopes. If you were just running up casually, you would slide right off. It's also why they have that stamina fruit here, too. Doesn't look like he was able to get too far. I don't think he likes us too much, though. Guess we should go over there and change his mind. But again, bird statue! Make sure you activate these. You will be kicking yourself if you don't. And also, these guys are all over the place. If you just leave these guys here and don't do anything with them, then nothing bad's gonna happen. They're not going to do anything. And if we run all the way over here, we can push this down, give ourselves a shortcut back to the beginning. And underneath it is this little thing. It's an amber relic. You'll find these all over the place. They're used for crafting stuff that we'll pick up later. And this collection screen we will be seeing a lot of throughout the game. You may have noticed the little counter at the bottom of the screen when that came up. Let's make a little game out of this. How many pages do you think we'll see of that collection screen? How many times do you think that page is going to show up? If you are watching this within, say, I don't know, a month of it appearing, a month this video goes up, give me a guess as to how many times you think we're going to see that collection screen throughout the entire project. I'll figure out something for us to do with whoever's the closest by the end. That's not going to do too much for your disguise. I kinda know you're a thing. Honestly, I'd rather eat the lettuce on your back than you. And I'll admit, it's kind of fun to fight those things off. Nice to meet you, Machi. Why do I think this was Zelda? Because there's only one other human being in this world, right? Everybody else is up on Skyloft. It's gotta be Zelda. Who else could it be? Escaping with the Elder doesn't sound all that... Aw, it's afraid of Fi. This is a true statement, Fi. Yes, I agree with you. So now, for whatever reason, she tells us that Machi is here and gives us an indicator on our map. And also tells us that we should probably use the dowsing to find more Kikwis to make our way to the Elder. I agree with that statement, too. I'll do that. And again, we can also bang into the trees, knock some stuff down, money for us. Unlike Twilight Princess, if we first boot up the game, as long as we've already picked up the rupees once, they will not give us the indicator of what they are worth again. So it's nice to not have to deal with that every single time we boot up the game. But as you can see, if I mark the location of Machi on our map, I'm not entirely sure why. The woods are relatively big. You can see there's the big tree over here. And it's easy to get lost in here, but the woods really aren't all that big relative to some of the other places we'll be going. And even though there's a guy on the hill here, you can just run right past him. You can also take one of these, and if you're careful enough with your aim, just crush him with it. There's no real point to doing it because you can run right past them, but it's satisfying to do. You also have these things that, if you leave attached to you for too long, will explode. And only do 1/4 of damage. There are very few things in this game that do so little damage. But I think you've noticed a lot of stuff we have taken damage from has been like a half or even a full heart at times. But most of the things... There are very few things in this game that do only 1/4 heart of damage. And those little explodey things are one of them. That's also the reason why we start with 6 hearts as opposed to 3. At least I assume that's the reason why. Because you might think, if you've only played the other Zelda games before, it must be easier because we have so much more health. But it's quite the opposite. They use it to compensate for the fact that things will do you more damage, and even basic enemies are more difficult to defeat. So it's just their way of compensating for that. But the woods themselves really aren't all that big, at least not in the very beginning. Considering the fact that we haven't really been here before and it's the first location in the game that we're exploring, of course it's not going to be that big. And like many areas in this game, it's very easy for you to get lost in places like this. But there are just so many different areas to it. It looks so unique, no matter where you go. Every place looks different. It's just that they look similar enough that you'll still get them confused. At least I have a problem with that. But these deku scrubs, the only way you can kill them is by deflecting their seeds shot back at you with the sword. You've probably played enough Zelda games to know how that works, so it's pretty simple. The thing with the shield bashing is you need to have the timing pretty well down if you want to deflect it without having your shield take any damage. If your timing is off, then you're going to lose health on your shield. Oh, wow. I'm guessing this is the Elder, right? I like the little change in the music they have for him, too. It suits his character more than it suits the others. Just the little touches. They have a lot of those in this game, and they do them pretty well. Oh, I guess Zelda was here. I can help you out with that, as long as you can tell me where Zelda is. Of course, he's going to force us to find the other 3 key... I mean, in his defense, it's kind of important to make sure that the Elder is able to look after his kind. It's just not very kind of him. And again, Fi is going to tell us exactly what we insinuated from what the Elder told us. This is the main problem that a lot of people have with this game, myself included. Fi points out everything, even if it's already been pointed out in the game by other means. Like, if the Elder just told us exactly what we have to do, Fi will pop up and spend another 30 seconds telling us the exact same thing that we were just told about. And that gets annoying very, very quickly, considering that's pretty much all she really does. But you can see we have 2 full bottles. I won't waste another one on the ferry. You can bottle these things. They only restore 6 hearts in this game, though. I always like to have one just for the sake of you never know what'll happen, but it's always nice to have one of those things around. Now these things, they will get attached to you if you... It's kind of hard to explain what I'm doing there. Basically, I'm moving forward with the joystick. I'm balancing myself with the remote. You have to go back and forth because he's going to sway naturally from side to side. And you have to kind of jostle around with the remote in order to knock those explodies off of you. But if you do it too much, you're just going to fall off the rope. So, the guy over there, the one with the band on his head, you saw he had a horn on his person. And that horn he uses to call more of his kind to him. So if you leave him alive, he will call more of these bokoblins out to kill you. And he will continue calling them until you destroy him. So if you want that battle to end, you have to kill the one with the bandana on his head. Well, I'm not bad guy. Ignore what I just said. Poor guy's afraid of heights. I guess he went up there because he was afraid and couldn't bring himself down again because he was too scared of heights. So let's bring him down whether he wants to or not. These guys are so plump, it probably doesn't hurt him at all to fall from a height like that. That nose, on the other hand, I cannot imagine what it would be like to have a nose that looks that frail and just have it slam right into the ground, face first. It's gotta hurt real bad. Nice to meet you, Lopsa. Everybody's afraid of Fi. So now Lopsa's on our map, too. This is a nifty little place. It's kind of secluded from the rest of the forest. There's not too much here. And here we're forced to learn rope mechanics. Similar to Wind Waker, you can climb up ropes. And we can swing by swinging the remote. Usually need another swing back in order to be able to make the jump. So it's a bit of a give and take between how high do you climb in order to be able to make the jump, but not so high as to not get enough distance. So now we'll be able to get back here, and if we go underneath there through the water, you can see it'll take us back to around the area where we ran into the Elder. And I forget if there's something back there, or if we just want to stay on this side. Maybe it's over here. There's one location in this area I typically overlook my first time through, and I kick myself for not finding it earlier. It's not that. There is a goddess cube over there. We don't know what these are yet, but our Skyward Strike isn't able to reach it from here. If you start with Hero Mode, your Skyward Strike will be fully powered up and you would be able to reach it, but we can't. And I think down there is where we were earlier. So is it that direction that I want to go? Or is it further in the other direction? It may be closer to the tree. I have a feeling it's somewhere around the tree, and this is ultimately where we want to be. I just forget exactly where it is. You have the little birds, the Guays are all around. I'll leave them alone, because they tend to leave me alone. So those guys die fairly quickly. I think it's on this side, actually. Although I believe the next Kiwi we need is over here, so we'll be making our way back there. And this is where the game teaches us that we actually have to leap across because there aren't any vines connecting those two sides. And yes, if you're not on a ladder or something, when you're grabbing hold to a wall, you will be using up your stamina. So, I think you can see the Kiwis over here. You can destroy all of the grass. It will give him nowhere to hide. Otherwise, he'll just pretend he's grass. Like, there's that little piece that's over there. But since he doesn't have anywhere to hide, he knows that it's not going to do him any good. Hi, Erla. This guy looks older than the others, but I think it just has to do with the markings on his face. Yep, the Elder's okay too. I'll tell him you're here. And of course, Zelda fans know what that difference means. Oh boy, more bad guys. I really hope one of you drops one of the small treasures, because I tell you what, getting the treasures off of these guys just gives me a lot of trouble. Like, from time to time I'll find them, sure, but for the most part, I have a lot of difficulty getting the treasures off of those guys. Like the crafting treasures. And yes, bugs count towards the collection screen too. There may be another one on the other side that fell down. But the woodland rhino beetles are some of the only ones that we can pick up without the... whatchamacallit? The bug net. Which, spoilers, we will be getting later. I think that was a deku scrub. I don't really care about him right now. I think it's over here, maybe? Somewhere around here. Yeah, don't get confused. There were actually two of those. There's one cube to the left, one cube to the right, and there's the piece of heart that I always forget is here. Also, with the ropes, you can dash forward, as long as you stay balanced. And in this game, it's back down to 4 pieces of heart to increase your health capacity. So, like, you can see that there's a goddess cube over there. I don't remember if that's the one that we saw, but there are at least 2 or 3 of them like that in this area. And I think now's as good a time as any to head back to the Elder. I don't think I'm going to be missing any Kikwis, unless there are 4. There should be 4, right? Maybe we'll go back. I always forget that there's a 4th one, because you always meet the first one. So you know that, okay, I've already talked to the first one, so there's probably going to be 3 more. And you don't think about that first one as being one of the 3. I don't know. I have some trouble counting to 4, I guess. But timing those shield bashes can be difficult sometimes. And it's part of the reason why you won't see me using the shield all that much, because I'm afraid of getting it wrong. Well, that's not a Kiwi. Maybe he's through here. How would you know how you taste? Oh, who am I kidding? It's probably a lie. You don't know what you taste like, do you? Hi, Ulu. You can do that. I'll let you know when it's safe, and by let you know, I mean hope that you eventually leave when it's safe. Now we can go talk to the Elder. Like, my brain was telling me to go here, but it was also telling me that I've already found 3 of them, so I should be done. And it didn't know what to do. And hopefully this puts us kinda near the Elder, so we can just run over to him. And I think you can see scattered all about, even, like, right up there, is another one of those Amber Relics. There are a ton of Amber Relics around the area here. It's just that finding your way to the Kikwi Elder can get kind of confusing. I mean, I can run over and grab the Amber Relic. It's not going to be too much trouble. It's just that after a certain point, it's really not worth the effort, even if the thing is right next to you. Because there are just so many available in the game. And chances are other missing treasures are going to be preventing you from getting the upgrade that you need, not necessarily the Amber Relics. So don't worry too much about passing on some of those.